This is the long-term review of the Zotac EN1070 gaming PC. When it comes to getting a computer, you can basically pick between two or three things: small, fast, or cheap. Well, the Zotac EN1070 is small and fast. Guess which one it's not. Coming in at $1,100 for the bare-bones system, the Zotac EN1070 is hardly the least expensive system you can get for the same hardware spec. However, it is probably the smallest. Just look at it, say compared to this original PlayStation, or the original Xbox, or the Dreamcast, or the standard issue household cat. Now this thing is probably the easiest LAN party PC you can cart around if you enjoy that sort of thing. I mean, I've tried them, but my friends just bring laptops, and they're old laptops, and we end up playing StarCraft 1, which will run on a Pentium 133. And here's the Zotac next to a Pentium 133. So, the system is very, very small. That's not to say that the system is really missing anything. Zotac did a good job including a bunch of USB ports, quad monitor support through dual display ports and dual HDMI ports, wireless AC, a front card reader, Bluetooth, and dual LAN ports for some reason. I don't know why, but I'm not complaining. The only thing that strikes me as odd is the lack of the fastest USB ports on the back. Having the fast ones on the front is great for VR setups, but if you're going to hook up an external hard drive, I mean, come on Zotac, nobody wants to plug those into the front of the computer. Inside, you have room for a 2.5-inch SSD or hard drive, an M2 SSD, and up to 32 gigabytes of RAM so long as it comes in the SODIMM laptop-style variety. The CPU, a quad-core Intel i5-6400T, which runs at 2.2 GHz and boosts itself up to 2.8, is buried under a big warning sticker about voiding the warranty. However, it is socketed, so in theory, you could upgrade it. The GPU, a GeForce 1070 GTX with 8 GB of memory, is also next to that CPU. The power supply is a power brick. It's not obnoxious like some of the ones that were given out with former gaming consoles, and it works just fine. Now for the unboxing. No, screw it. The only time I ever watch an unboxing is to see if I'm missing anything. Besides, the box is already in a pile next to my fishing gear, some fans I had planned to use in another build, and the Rick and Morty Mr. Meeseeks box so fun. That game should have a 5-drink minimum. That's not a joke. I mean, that game should have a 5-drink minimum. Now, you might be wondering exactly who this system is for. Well, for me, I wanted a small gaming PC that wouldn't take up the space of my old MATX build, and could play anything that I wanted at 1080p. It also had to be quiet. My old system was running an Intel i5-2500K, overclocked to 4.5 GHz with twin 770s in SOI, so it wasn't exactly quiet, and it took up a decent amount of space. How did the Zotac compare? Yeah, nicely actually. Enough with the hardware, let's play some games. Fair warning, this isn't a benchmarking review. If you're looking for extensive benchmarks of the Zotac EN1070, you're not going to find them in this review. Instead, I'm going to talk more about what it's like as an experience to play games on the Zotac EN1070. Now, I'm not an extreme gamer, but the Zotac EN1070 is fast enough to play any modern game at 1080p with the max settings. It's hands down faster than the PS4 or Xbox One, and gives you higher quality graphics. Plus, it can do everything a normal PC can, in a normal PC way. Microsoft can make all the claims they want, but I don't see anyone rushing to surf the web on their Xbox One on that nice little Edge browser they gave you. And honestly, when was the last time you looked at a Steam box and said, hey, I want that? You haven't? Don't lie to yourself. Now let's look at the individual games. Battlefield 1 on the highest settings ran very, very well. I can't say it ran perfectly because I did see a little bit of stutter here and there, but I'm going to chalk that more up to the video capture program I was using when I was playing, and less to the system itself. Rise Son of Rome, albeit not the newest game out there, ran perfectly at 1080p. I was even able to super sample at 1.5 times with all the settings at max and still get a very playable game that looked great. Star Wars Battlefront also ran very well on the system, giving far better graphics than the Xbox One or PlayStation 4 version, and a pretty consistent frame rate, about 60 frames per second. Titanfall 2, a game I'm terrible at, as you can tell from this video, ran perfectly well on the system. All of this was while the system stayed pretty much near silent. I mean, this thing is barely audible from about 3 feet away, even when running at full power. Final Fantasy XIV, which makes my 980 Ti sound like a hairdryer, was the worst game when it came to heat, and I still didn't even really notice the fan. So what's the downside of the Zotac EN1070? If I had to pick something, it would be the CPU. The i5-6400T is very power efficient. It uses only 35 watts. But it only runs at 2.2 to 2.8 gigahertz. The i7-6700T ran much faster, had hyperthreading, and still used the same amount of voltage. I wish Zotac had offered that as at least an option on this system. Even Zotac has realized that a faster CPU might be something gamers want. The newer model of this, the EN1070K, offers a significantly faster Kaby Lake CPU than what was offered in this model. Still, I wish Zotac would stop doing baby steps with their CPU offerings and just give us the option to order the fastest CPU out the gate. So what's the verdict? Well, as I said at the beginning, this is a long-term review of the system, and the EN1070, after about 400 hours of gaming, hasn't really let us down. It plays everything we've thrown at it at 1080p, and that includes Final Fantasy XIV, CSGO, which pretty much any system can run, but Titanfall 2, Battlefield 1, Battlefront, none of them have had an issue with this system. However, if you were looking to go for 4K, I would say go with the Zotac EN1080, the big brother of the EN1070. It has a GeForce GTX 1080 and a faster CPU. That said, if you're looking for a very, very compact system that doesn't make a lot of noise, that fits well into a home theater, I think the Zotac EN1070 would be a good fit. This is Revenant from The Gamer Way, signing off.